The 2025 F1 grid is set to witness significant changes, with several new faces joining the sport and a number of familiar drivers departing. Much of the discussion has focused on the drivers from top teams, such as Sergio Perez, Kimi Antonelli, and Liam Lawson. However, there's one driver who seems to have slipped under the radar due to his relatively quiet 2024 season. That driver is Valtteri Bottas. Many may overlook Valtteri because he has been driving less competitive machinery for the past 3 years. Yet, it's important to remember that before this period, Valtteri was widely regarded as one of the top drivers in Formula One for a considerable time. His junior career was remarkable, and like a select few exceptional talents, he made the rare leap directly from GP3 to F1. During his career, he finished as the championship runner-up twice and was celebrated as a prodigious talent in his early years. So without wasting any more time, let's dive into Valtteri's journey in F1, how he built his career and what ultimately led to his decline. And to be honest, I wouldn't even call it a decline, just unfortunate timing would be more appropriate. Starting from the beginning. Valtteri was born in 1989 in Nastola, Finland. His father owned a small cleaning company while his mother worked as a funeral director. Valtteri began karting at the age of 6 and quickly built an impressive record, excelling in both national and international championships. He studied automotive engineering in school and graduated as an auto mechanic. After completing his mandatory military service, Valtteri continued his passion for racing. Following his karting career, he stepped into single-seater racing in 2007, competing in the Formula Renault Northern European Cup. He finished third in the championship, securing 2 wins and a total of 6 podiums. Valtteri remained in Formula Renault for 2008 and dominated the championship, finishing over 100 points ahead of the runner-up. He also competed in the Eurocup Formula Renault, where the championship battle came down to the wire between him and Daniel Ricciardo, with Valtteri ultimately securing the title by 3 points. In 2009, Valtteri moved up to the Formula 3 Euro Series, where he finished third in the standings, while his teammate Jules Bianchi claimed the championship. That same year, Frank Williams was highly impressed by his performance in Formula 3 and signed him as the test and reserve driver for the Williams Formula 1 team. Valtteri continued in the Formula 3 Euro Series for 2010, once again finishing third in the standings with 2 wins and a total of 8 podiums. The following year, Valtteri moved up to the GP3 Series and won the championship in spectacular fashion, surprising everyone. He secured 4 wins and a total of 7 podiums, beating British runner-up driver James Calado by just 7 points. After winning the Formula 3 title, the natural progression for Valtteri would have been to compete in the Formula 2 Series. However, he didn't make the jump to Formula 2 and instead stayed with the Williams team in a development role, participating in 15 practice sessions in 2012. This indicated that Williams was likely grooming him for a future Formula 1 debut. The signs became clear at the end of the year, when it was announced that Valtteri would race full-time for Williams in 2013, alongside teammate Pastor Maldonado. Valtteri's rookie F1 season proved to be a challenge, as the Williams car that year was uncompetitive and struggled to hold on to point-scoring positions. The main highlight of the season for Valtteri was a brilliant third-place qualifying performance at the Canadian Grand Prix, followed by his first points in Formula 1 with a 9th-place finish in Austin. He scored 4 points that season, finishing 17th in the standings ahead of his teammate. Valtteri outqualified Maldonado in 12 out of the 15 races that season. He was retained by Williams for 2014, this time partnering with the experienced and highly rated Felipe Massa, and driving a much more competitive car. The turbo-hybrid Mercedes engine gave Williams a significant advantage as other engine manufacturers struggled after the introduction of new regulations. The Williams car that season was the 3rd best on the grid in most races, and both drivers took full advantage of that. Valtteri regularly scored strong points for the team, and Massa's similar contributions helped Williams finish 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. Valtteri's first F1 podium came in Austria, where he finished 3rd, followed by 2 second-place finishes. He then continued his podium streak, scoring 6 podiums in total that season. Valtteri finished 4th in the standings ahead of his teammate, who ended the season in 7th. Both drivers were retained by Williams for 2015. Once again, Williams had the 3rd quickest car for most of the season, and Valtteri continued to impress with his consistently strong performances, claiming 2 podiums and finishing 5th in the championship, once again outscoring Felipe Massa. Strong performances from both drivers helped Williams retain 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship. 2016 saw Williams struggle with car development as the competition began catching up. Valtteri delivered some strong results, but struggled to consistently break into points scoring positions. He finished the season in 8th place, once again outperforming his teammate, who finished in 11th. When Nico Rosberg announced his retirement after winning the World Championship in 2016, Mercedes signed Valtteri to fill the vacant seat alongside Lewis Hamilton. Although Valtteri already had a multi-year contract with Williams, the team fully supported his move to drive for a championship-winning team. I won't go into too much detail about the 2017 season, as switching teams is never easy for drivers. However, Valtteri adapted well to Mercedes, claiming his maiden F1 win along with 2 additional victories. He scored a total of 13 podiums that season and finished 3rd in the championship, while his teammate Lewis Hamilton won the title ahead of Sebastian Vettel. 2018 saw Valtteri struggle against his teammate, the Ferraris, and a very quick Max Verstappen. He finished 5th in the standings, failing to secure a single win that season, while his teammate went on to win the title. In 2019 and 2020, Valtteri finished as runner-up in the championship, both times losing to his teammate, Lewis Hamilton. The Mercedes car was the class of the field during those 2 years, significantly quicker than the competition in most races. Although Valtteri was consistently on the podium, he couldn't challenge Hamilton properly, who was winning almost every weekend. Valtteri started the seasons as a championship contender, but as the year progressed, he struggled to keep up with Lewis's pace. Despite having the quickest car, Valtteri couldn't quite match the raw talent and skill of his teammate, who is arguably the most successful driver in F1 history. That feeling of defeat took a toll on his mental health as he recently opened up about his struggles in interviews. Thing is, there are different types of drivers. You can be very quick, but if you don't have that killer instinct to beat your opponent at all costs or push aggressively into the fight, you'll lose to a more determined competitor. That's the reality of every sport. In situations where others play it safe, extraordinary drivers push that extra bit to extract more from both the car and themselves. Over the course of the season, that makes the difference between the world champion and his competition. In 2021, Valtteri was out of the championship contention, as Max and Lewis were in a league of their own. He finished 3rd in the standings despite having a somewhat underwhelming season. Look, I like Valtteri as a driver, and I think he has shown immense potential. He just lacked a little bit, not much, just a bit of what it takes to be a world champion. Unlike Nico Rosberg, who was able to beat Lewis Hamilton in the same machinery in their 3rd season as teammates, Valtteri just couldn't improve at that rate and consistently challenge Lewis for wins. For 2022, Mercedes let go of Valtteri in favour of the young upcoming talent of George Russell, and Valtteri joined Sauber on a multi-year contract. His stint with Sauber wasn't easy, as the team faced numerous struggles with car development. As the seasons progressed, scoring points became increasingly challenging and rare for the Sauber drivers. In the first 2 seasons, Valtteri outperformed Joe, but last season Valtteri finished the year pointless, while Joe managed to score 4 points. It's not that Joe outperformed Valtteri, as Valtteri was the leading qualifier and was ahead in most races. The Sauber operation was plagued by technical difficulties, manufacturing defects, and flawed car development strategies. Despite being the team's leading driver for 3 years, Sauber decided to part ways with both their drivers for 2025. Now, what do I think of Sauber's decision to part ways with Valtteri? The decision by Sauber to part ways with their drivers came quite abruptly. They had previously signed Nico Hülkenberg and then added the current F2 champion. It does make sense to have one experienced driver and a champion rookie. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Though these decisions are never easy. Sometimes opportunities arise that teams would be foolish not to seize. I'd say this was one of those scenarios. Sauber made their decision with strategic ties and the future in mind, so I wouldn't blame them for it. But I do feel for Valtteri, as he did nothing wrong or underperformed in any way. Now, coming to the important question, what's next for Valtteri? For 2025, Valtteri has been signed to a reserve driver role at Mercedes, so he'll be in the paddock, helping the team with development and sim work. The team has gambled on youth with Kimi Antonelli, who seems to be their long-term project, especially as they don't appear to have a championship contending car at the moment. The other seat is secured by George Russell, a quick and talented driver who is fully capable of fighting for the title. However, if the need for an experienced driver arises, I think Valtteri would be a solid candidate. Teams like Haas, Alpine, Williams or Aston Martin could be potential options for him if any opportunities come up. Valtteri is also into rallying and has competed in several rally championships in the past. He's expressed interest in returning to rallying on several occasions, but there's no confirmation on that yet. Valtteri is also involved in many business ventures. He owns around 10% of a hockey team in his hometown and a coffee roastery as well. Additionally, he launched his own gin brand, Oath, alongside his girlfriend. He is also active in charity work, and I'm sure you all remember the famous calendar photo shoot. Valtteri is also passionate about cycling and participates in many cycling events as well. In the end, I would say Valtteri is a very accomplished driver. He has 10 wins, over 60 podiums, and 20 pole positions, achievements that most drivers only dream of. His departure from F1 may not have been how he or any of us would have liked, but sometimes that's just how the sport goes. I wish Valtteri the best of luck in his post-F1 pursuits, And who knows, maybe we'll see him back on the grid in the coming years. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Also, let me know what you think of Valtteri's exit from Formula 1, and I'll see you guys in the next video.